Hi everyone, thank you for registering for the dental marketing webinar that we've put in place. I'm Dan, I work for Samera on the finance side, and I'm joined today by Chris, who is our head of marketing. The way it's going to work is we're going to sort of open the forum out to everyone, so please, put your questions on there and I'll ask Chris whatever you need to know. To sort of kick us off, I've got a couple of questions sort of ready so we can sort of start talking. But yeah, please just fire in your questions and let us know. So the first question I'm going to ask you, Chris, is obviously we do a lot of startups at Samera. So I suppose one of the questions I want to ask is, what do people do before they start up their practice? Before they're actually trading, what do they need to put in place beforehand?
Well, there's a few things you can do. There's the old school stuff of doing flyers and all that offline marketing, like getting ads in local magazines, that kind of thing, letting people know there's a new practice coming. But in terms of digital marketing, the first thing you've got to do is get your website up. And I'd really recommend getting that at least 2 or 3 months before your open date, just because, if you do a really good website, maybe you will go to the front page of Google almost instantly. It kind of depends on how good your website is and what the competition's like in the area. Like if you're in Harley Street, it's going to take a while to get to the front page. But if you're in a smaller town, and there's only 1 or 2 other dental practices, then you could probably do it on the day. But to really build up that SEO karma and start ranking higher, I would get that up about a month, 2 months, 3 months before your open date. Because then you can just have coming soon all over it. And obviously the people who want a dentist there and then, you're no good to them. But people who are shopping around, maybe they want something like Invisalign where people don't get it as like an instinct purchase. They want to do research first. So that kind of customer you can really start targeting before you're even open. And also pay-per-click. Again, things like emergency or dental checkups, you're not going to be that useful for because you're not open yet. But yeah, you can direct people who are shopping around or doing research on a big ticket item to your website, and you can just have coming soon, like a brand awareness campaign. So those would be the 2 main ones. Obviously, there's the offline stuff. But in terms of digital marketing, get a website up fairly early and get some pay-per-click. Obviously, with the pay-per-click, make it cheap because you don't want to be spending 100 quid a day before you've even opened. But yeah, get some pay-per-click ads going on in Google. You can do social media, but
I suppose also as well, if you've got a site and you're in the process of fitting it out, is use the location that you're there. So obviously you get something up in the windows, get the signage up as early as possible so people can see you're there. So like you say, use the digital marketing side of things, but obviously use the presence, you're there. People will see that as a sort of walking to and from work or in the shops. So they'll know there's a practice coming shortly as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like you get your signage up early in the area, get your signage up early on Google as well.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously you spoke about Google. So this is probably one that, I know we do a lot of this internally. How do you get your ranking higher in Google? What sort of things do you need to do to make you rank higher in Google?
That's a big question. It's 90% of my job, and it's tough. But there's loads of things you can do. And to be honest, if you're going to be doing the website yourself, then SEO, getting to the top of Google is pretty much everything you need to know. But if you're outsourcing it, hopefully they'll know all this. But it's things like it has to be mobile first, not mobile friendly. So a few years ago, we used to say your website has to be mobile friendly. It has to work on a mobile. But now pretty much everyone's doing everything on their mobile. So you have to build it for the mobile. It's not just good for the user. Google likes it as well. Google will know whether it doesn't look good on a mobile, and it will start marking you down for it. It has to be fast. So everyone knows how short people's attention spans online are. So if it takes more than a second to load, people will click away. Google knows that, so it'll mark you down. It has to be stable. So that's things like if you have a button that loads and you go to click it and then something loads above it and it moves the button down, Google hates that. So you need to make it stable, fast, mobile first. But also one of the biggest things are keywords. So if you're a dentist in Bayswater, then you need to make sure that you've got dentist in Bayswater around your website. Sounds quite simple, but it's something you need to really get right. You need to have things like, I'm trying to think what the big ticket items you really need to think about. So keywords, content. So obviously you need pages for your services, for your team, but you're also going to need blogs, because it doesn't really matter whether people actually read the blogs. What you're doing is showing Google, this is what my website's about. So the first thing I would just say is do one blog for each of your treatments. So do a blog on the pros and cons of Invisalign. What is composite bonding? You'll find excuses to come up with pages for treatments. So if you've got 30 pages, that's 30 blogs. Do one a week. That's almost a year's worth of content right there. And then you can start doing more in-depth things like how guides to keep your teeth clean, or how to floss properly, that kind of thing. And yeah, again, it's not really about whether people are going to read it. It's more about showing Google, this is what my website is about. It's about dentistry. It's about oral health. And if you can find an excuse to do content about your local area, that's one of the biggest things you can do, because it's not just showing Google you're a dentist. It's showing Google specifically, I'm a dentist in Bayswater. I'm a dentist in Leeds. But yeah, the main things really are speed, stability, and mobile friendliness. They're the things Google really cares about most at the moment. There are other things like backlinks, which is where another website links to yours. It's hard to get them because a lot of websites want you to pay for it. You should never pay for it. But things like your local Chamber of Commerce or Yell.com, Yelp, that kind of thing. Any free online business directory, get yourself on there, get them to link back to your website, make a profile, and you'll get backlinks out of that. But Google, it looks like, I think personally, Google's going to start phasing them out in terms of importance. So it's going to become more about brand awareness. So that's when you're going to have to start linking up with other people in the area, getting them to mention you on their social media, on their website, that kind of thing.
So people in the local area, if you're connecting with them, Google likes that because you're part of the local community. Is that what it likes?
Yeah. So if there's a local school or a local church or a local care home that have a website or a newsletter, then do guest posting for them. Reach out to them and say, look, could I do a post for you, or a video for you, or a social media engagement with you on, if it's a school, on keeping kids' teeth clean, on if it's a care home, then over 60s healthcare, that kind of thing. Find excuses for people in the area to link up with. And yeah, hospitality, service, they're the easiest ones to go for.
So sort of on social media, so what are the benefits for a dental practice in terms of using social media? And I suppose that also takes into account sort of videos and stuff and pictures for the practice. How does that help a practice in terms of promoting themselves?
Right. So that answer's changing at the moment. If you'd asked me this a couple of years ago, I'd have said it's pretty much all dependent on your target market. If you're in a young professionals area, then yeah, you're going to need social media because that's what they like. Millennials, Gen Z, that kind of thing. But if that's not your target market, if you're looking more at families or smaller villages or just smaller towns, it probably wouldn't have been as important. But it is becoming more important. So it's something at our dental practices, we're stepping up a lot at the moment. And that's because, again, Google is kind of moving SEO from the technical coding side, and they're trying to turn it into more brand awareness and brand reach. So one of the best ways to get your brand out there is social media, because it's not, Google isn't just anymore looking at what happens on Google. It's now starting to look at what happens on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn to a lesser extent for B2C businesses. So it's becoming more important, but still at the moment, if it's not part of your target market, you really can get away with not doing it. But especially if you're looking at younger people, young professionals, they're going to want to see that. So even if it's just having a backlog or a catalog of posts that they can then go on and see, oh, these are active dental practice, I like the look of them. I can see their team. They look friendly. I can see their practice. It looks up to date. But you're also thinking psychologically about if you find a business online and you look at their social media and they've done 10 posts, the last one was 2 years ago. It doesn't look that great. And it's just kind of a poorly maintained social media platform.
Yeah.
It may not say anything about their service, but psychologically, you're going to think that doesn't look too good. And subconsciously, you'll kind of link that up to the service. So it is good if you're going to do it well.
And I suppose that sort of follows on a little bit into like Google reviews. So if someone hasn't had a Google review for a period of time, I suppose one that sort of may sort of raise a few alarm bells. But then I suppose the other thing, what are the benefits of Google reviews and how do people get more of them? Really, because I know we try a lot to get Google reviews, and sometimes it can be difficult to get people to take the time to do it. But I suppose what are the benefits and how do you increase it really?
Right. So there's two benefits to them. The first one is what is known in marketing as social proof. So the best form of marketing isn't an advert; it's a customer recommending a product or a service or a company. So Google reviews are going to be one of the biggest things that attracts people to you. You probably already realize you do it, but I certainly do it. When you go online and look for something, whether it's on Google, whether it's on Amazon, the first thing you're going to look at is how many reviews have they got? Is it 5-star and is it 3 reviews, or is it 1,000+ reviews and 5-star?
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of social proof, it's hugely important because the more you've got, the better you'll look. And the other reason is Google. Google loves Google reviews. So the more Google reviews you've got, the closer you are to 5-star, the more likely Google is to put you in the top 3, 4, 5. And especially that matters a lot more when it comes to local SEO, which is when you Google dentist in Bayswater, you'll have a map of the area and 3 notifications will come up, and then there'll be those 3 practices. Then you'll have all the actual search results. Those 3 that come up, that's called the local pack, and they're not necessarily the best practices. They'll be the ones with the best local SEO. So that'll be ones that have linked up with local businesses. They've got their locality in their brand somewhere. They've done really good local SEO on their website, and they've got the best Google reviews. So yeah,
Chris, just in case people are not too sure what SEO means, could you explain that a little bit?
So SEO is just search engine optimization. It's just all the little tricks and tips we do to get higher in Google. So that's everything from coding to links to setting up your Google profile. Anything you do to try and get your website higher is technically SEO, search engine optimization.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's essentially what it is in a nutshell.
Yeah. If anyone wants to ask any questions, obviously just fire that question into us, and then again I'll happily ask Chris. If not, obviously we've still got a bank of questions to go through, so hopefully we'll give you some good information from this. Just on another point, so obviously you spoke earlier about sort of marketing and maybe getting someone to do the website. So what sort of marketing should you probably pay for, and what should you try and keep in-house, or does it depend on, I suppose, your technical ability, I suppose?
Yeah, so it depends on how good you are at certain things.
Yeah.
The one thing I will, and I say this all the time, one thing I would say more than anything is, if you're not good at websites yourself, do not just find a family member or a friend who's good at websites and get them to do it for you. That's the worst thing you can do. You see it all the time. So many times people come to me with a website and it's bad. And I say, well, who built this? Assuming they're going to tell me an agency. And I'm going to say, well, they were cowboys. And it turns out it's their nephew who's quite good at computers. And it's just, there's a reason they're not a web developer, because it's a bad website. So don't do that. you either want to bring it in-house, especially if you're going to have like a dental group, then you'll probably need an in-house developer, or you can at least afford an in-house developer.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to bring it in-house, your website is something you cannot cheap out on. That is an investment. It's not a cost. So find a good agency that builds practices, and try and find one that specializes in dentists, because not all websites are the same. Not all industries are the same. SEO is the same for a lot of industries and a lot of spheres, but find someone who specializes in dentistry and get an agency to do it. If you yourself are a coder or a developer and you know how to do it, then cool, go for it. And there are websites like Wix, that kind of thing, that do try to make it as simple as possible. But unless you get a professional to do your website, it's really not going to go well. So your website, 1,000%, you need to pay for that. That's an investment that will pay itself back time and time and time again. SEO, your developer, the person you get to do the website, will know about SEO if you do your research and make sure you got a good agency. However, it's really, really useful for you yourself to know the basics as well. So obviously we have articles on our website, but just Google it, because I mean, Google how to do SEO for dentists, and the people who get to the top are going to be the people who are best at SEO. So it's probably the one thing you can Google and be sure that you're getting the best results. Because if you Google, I don't know, the best mugs, you're just going to get the company that sell mugs that paid the most for their SEO. But if you Google best SEO for tips for dentists, the people who get to the top of the people with the best SEO. They're the people you want to learn from. So yeah, SEO will be part of the development, but learn it yourself. Learn the basics at least, because then you can do little changes, little tweaks and updates without having to get a developer to do it, who might take a week to do it and charge you 500 quid for every update and change they make. That's really, really important. The content, I'd really recommend doing yourself. Not just because, I mean, who wants to spend 500 quid to get someone to do blogs for them, but you're the expert, and that's what Google wants to see. They don't really want to see a content writer writing content. They want to see a dentist talking about dentistry and oral health. So, I mean, you only need to do 500 words to 1,000 words. Won't take you that long, especially on a topic you know about. So again, once a week, once a month, just for each of your treatments, write 500 to 1,000 words on a treatment. Once a week, once a month, that'll be fine. Get your expert opinions in there, get tips and tricks that customers and patients won't know, answer the FAQs you get all the time, any misconceptions you come across all the time, write about them. That's 100% something you can do in-house. And with websites, don't get a friend or family member to do it, but social media, that is something you can get a friend or family member to do, because if you've got a child or a cousin or a nephew or a niece or just a family friend who's youngish, the chances are they know social media like the back of their hand. And a lot of young people starting up their own social media platforms themselves, so they'll probably know the algorithm. They'll know what kind of content to make. They'll know when to post, how to make it look good, because they spend their lives on there, so they know what to look for. So that is something you can bring in-house, especially if social media is not going to be the cornerstone of your marketing. Obviously, for some practices, social media is the cornerstone of their marketing. That's where they want all their brand awareness. And if you're going to do that, then yeah, you're going to need a social media agency. And it's probably best to get someone in-house to do that. Obviously, an agency would be great, but social media is all about content. So instead of having someone having to come out all the time to film the videos or take the pictures, having someone in-house who's just there in the practice, who can take pictures and videos every single day, is probably going to be better. So yeah, that's what I would say. Website, outsource. Social media, you can get a friend or family member who's good at social media. SEO, your developer will do it, but you should know stuff. And content, I would just do yourself, to be honest.
Perfect. Chris, we have had a question. So someone said, how do we prepare for the future of search marketing? There's a lot of talk that things will move away from this and towards AI in the future.
That's a really good question, and it's one that keeps me up at night all the
Yeah.
time. The
I
answer
might
is
get you out of a job. That's why.
yes. The answer is we don't know. No one knows. There are huge names in SEO, influencers, if you will, and a lot of their content at the moment is basically saying we don't know how this is going to change, but maybe it's this, maybe it's that. So yeah, we don't know. I don't think Google's going to go away. I don't think Google search will go away. I think it's just going to change. I think if you were to Google how to take care of my teeth, then yeah, dentists aren't going to come up anymore. It's going to be AI. It's going to be Gemini or ChatGPT will be answering that. But when people are looking for a dentist in their area, I think basically what's happening behind the scenes will be the same. It's just instead of having a Google search page and 10 results, it's probably just going to be Gemini saying, I found 3 dental practices in your area. This one specializes in this one specializes in that. This one has great Google reviews, but here are all the others. So I think the results will essentially be the same. It'll just be presented more as a conversation from an AI rather than a list of websites.
It's starting to do that now, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
when you go on, it does that. Gemini does come up and
Exactly.
sort of give you more suggestions. So that is starting to change
Yeah.
already into how you interact with just Google when you're not actually looking for AI really.
Yeah. So I don't know if the end result will be different in terms of you Google dentist near me, and at the moment Google shows you the 3 that have the best local SEO in that map. Then it has all the others. I don't think that'll change. I just think it'll be presented in a different way. But again, we don't know. AI is certainly going to change who gets to the top because it's going to change how we do SEO, how SEO is analyzed by Google. It'll change the algorithm for the better for customers, I think. It's going to make my life a lot harder. One thing Google has said, though, is, and this is kind of good of them, they want to try and move Google away from SEO in terms of who gets to the top at the moment is basically who has the best SEO, and that's not really what people want. Like if you Google best dentist near me, the people that get to the top will be the people who have done the best SEO, who've got the best agency, the best in-house person.
Yeah,
that's not the same as the best dentist.
no,
The algorithm and AI will start analyzing a lot more to actually figure out who the best dentist is. Obviously, that's subjective, but it'll start. It's going to try and move things away from people like me, gaming the system, and try and move it towards a more robust algorithm. So yeah, it's going to change what we have to do for SEO, but yeah, in terms of future proofing it, I don't think anything needs to change hugely at the moment. I think at the moment you just need to make sure your SEO is as good as it was a week, a month, a year, 2 years ago. Keep up to date with all the Google updates because, again, every year they bring up a new algorithm update that changes things because SEO people get too good at gaming the system. So they need to change things up and make it more customer-centric and patient-centric.
yeah.
So keep up to date with everything Google says. They do announce these things all the time. But yeah, it's such a difficult question to ask to answer because we don't know.
No one knows yet. I suppose with the AI, it just keeps changing, and
Yeah.
I suppose we use it for certain things, and that it's just changing on the
To be
daily
honest, I don't
basis
think
in
Google
terms of what it does. Really, yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think Google even knows how it's going
No.
to change things. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, I was at a conference on digital marketing, and there was a guy there from Google saying Google kind of wants to make all interactions on the online happen on Google rather than your website. So if you were to Google men's shoes, yeah, you'll get a load of websites selling men's shoes, but you're also along the top going to get loads of pictures of shoes, like one on Amazon, one on Clark's, one on TK Maxx, and you'll be able to make the purchase there on the Google search now. And that's kind of what Google wants to do across the board. They want eventually to, when people look for a dentist, they want the book now button to be on Google rather than, I mean, Google will do all this for you essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
your website may well become a back end, like the admin side of things, and everything. Google, their goal is to make everything happen on Google rather than on your website, so people never have to click away from Google.
Yeah. So you're on it all the time.
Yeah.
So we've sort of spoke about, obviously, building your brand a little bit, doing the website, sort of getting high up on the searches. So, in effect, you've done all that hard work, and you've put the time in, you've employed someone to get you up on the searches. How do you know if your marketing's working? What are the sort of checks and balances to make sure that if you're spending money on this, that it's actually working for the practice?
One of the easiest ways you can do is just ask patients, where did you find us? So maybe on your book now button, your book online system, you can just have a thing saying, where did you find us? And if they're saying Google a lot, then it's working. If they say social media, it's working. If they're all saying word of mouth and no one says Google, then something's not working. So that's the easiest way of seeing it. But then obviously just kind of Googling dentist near me when you're at the practice. And if you're coming up near the top, then your SEO is good. You're near the top of Google. If you're near the top of Google, but you're not getting any conversions online, then there's something wrong with the website in terms of maybe your book online button is hidden, or maybe the book online function doesn't work. So there's loads of things you can do like that. But really, it's kind of where are your patients coming from? If you are getting patients. And if you're getting patients, ask them. Then you'll know where they're coming from, whether it's working. If you're not getting patients, then it's not working. So either you're not high enough on Google, you're not paying enough for your pay-per-click, maybe you are high enough on Google, but your website doesn't work or it looks bad. Because again, a great practice can have a terrible website, and a terrible practice can have a great website. But if a great website will make your practice look good, even if it's terrible, and a terrible website will make your practice look terrible, even if it's great. So that's really, really, really important. Kind of the psychology behind it and just the visual aspect of it. Obviously, there's loads of other things you can do, like Google Analytics is a program Google gives you that shows you how many views you're getting, how many clicks you're getting. And you can also set up what's called a conversion tracker, where you'll tell Google, right, here's my book now button. Here's the thank you page they get once they've booked. How many people have clicked this and seen the thank you page? And it will tell you, right, you've had the book now button has had 30 conversions this month. So you'll know, cool, I had 30 bookings this month from the website. Then you'll know it's working because 30 terrible. So I mean, there's loads of ways of doing it, but really it's about, are you getting patients in? If you're getting patients in, then it's working.
You would hope that it's working, and I suppose, like you say, they're coming in, and you could do that quick sense check. Okay, where did you hear about us? And then they say Google or other forms that you can sort of see if your marketing's going in the right place. So
with pay-per-click though, pay-per-click will tell you exactly, right, you've had, so that's Google ads. I mean, that will tell you exactly, right, you've spent X amount this month and you've had 20 conversions. Therefore, each conversion has cost you this much. So pay-per-click can be really, really good for knowing exactly how much you're getting, how much bang for your buck you're getting in terms of your ROI.
Can be a quick way of burning through money as well, though. Can't it?
Really, really, really can. So be very careful with pay-per-click.
I think at one of the events you sort of said there was something that people sometimes do wrong with pay-per-click in terms of making it a bit too broad. And
I mean, there's loads of things wrong with it. But I mean, obviously making it too, like, don't put keywords in there like dentist, because then everyone in the world who's searching dentist, you're paying to try and get in front of them. So you're looking for dentist area. You're looking for Invisalign area, because you don't want the people 50 miles away who are Googling Invisalign getting your ads, because you're paying for that. So with pay-per-click, my biggest marketing tip is have one cheap brand awareness one, which is dentist near me, dentist in Leeds, or dentist in Bayswater, or wherever you are, and have an emergency dentistry one, and try and get emergency patients from pay-per-click, because they're not the Invisalign patients who are just doing research at the moment. It's very rare people are going to Google Invisalign near me, click on an ad, and then buy it that day. They're just doing research. So you're probably paying for someone who's just doing research, who's just shopping around at the moment. That's not really what you want to do. But someone who's Googling emergency dentist, the chances are they need a dentist right then and there.
I'd say that's a good shout, really. they're going to need a dentist fairly quickly.
That's more likely to get an immediate return in terms of finance. Yeah, the Invisalign one will be great, because then in a month, that person who clicked and read about your website and liked your website might decide, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get Invisalign, and I liked that website. I'm going to go to them. But that's a risk. But in emergency dentistry, the people who are searching that are looking for you right now, and they're going to spend to get out of pain, to get their teeth fixed, whatever it is. And if they're Googling emergency dentist, it means they either don't have a dentist, in which case you're getting a new patient, or they do have a dentist who can't fit them in or isn't available for them. So if you impress them, if they like you, if you really, really help them, if your follow-up's really good, there's a really good chance you're going to steal that patient from their original clinic. It's happened to me. I've gone to emergency dentist because my dentist wasn't available, and I love them so much I swapped, because they were brilliant. They had me in stitches the whole time. They were funny. They were more expensive, but I loved them. So I switched because they captured me as an emergency patient. So that's something I'd really, really, really recommend. And that one you can spend a little bit more on than the brand awareness one.
But that is true. Like I say, that is a service you need straight away. You're not doing that research. You need an emergency dentist.
You're not shopping around. No one's shopping around for an emergency dentist. You're looking for someone who's open.
You're not doing it just in case in the future I might need one. You need a dentist now. So
maybe some people think ahead that much, but no.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, they're looking for someone who's open now and ready to fit them in.
Just in terms of other forms of advertising, obviously we've spoken about the internet quite a bit, but obviously if you've already got patients in house, do you feel email to the patients is a good way of sort of, one, keeping them informed, and two, sort of maybe marketing to them, because obviously they're already your patients, you've got their details, obviously as long as they click the opt-in button on that, but to obviously, is that a good way to reach out to patients?
Yeah, email can be really, really good. It's not going to work for everyone, but it's not exactly an expensive thing to do. So it's worth giving a go. Again, like you said, make sure you've got permission to reach out to them. Make sure you're really compliant with GDPR. But yeah, it's a really good way. Obviously, you want to do follow-ups. Like when you have an appointment with them, do a follow-up. And you can do things like, you can get systems like, there's loads of them. I don't really want to, like there's Sendinblue, there's loads of different mass email softwares, and you can tell them, you can link it up to your booking software and say, right, here are all my Invisalign patients. They just had their first consultation. Then a week later or a day or two later, they get an email with all the information you would need after your first consultation.
Yeah.
Then the system will then know, right, they've had their first, they've had their metal braces put in for the first time. So then a couple of days later, I send them an email, and this can all be automated, that says how to take care of your metal braces, worrying signs to look out for, that kind of thing. So you can really keep a follow-up going, and really keep that connection going with the patient, which is really, really useful. Then, of course, if you've got a deal on or an offer on, you can then send it out to 1,000 people on your email list. And if even 3 of them come back to you, then you're making money on it. Because
it hasn't cost you anything.
Exactly. Most of these systems are completely free.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good way of keeping that relationship and that engagement and communication with the patient, either just kind of ongoing, or a week after they've had a certain procedure, and you can tell it, right, if they've had this procedure, here are the follow-up emails. Send this one after a week, this one after 2 weeks, this one after 3 weeks. They're really, really good soft systems to have. So yeah, email is definitely, you're probably not going to get any new people that way, but getting info out there to help them and getting offers out there to help you, it can really, really work well. And you can either get them to do that when they sign up with you, or you can just have a button on your website saying, give us your email, sign up for offers and exclusive deals, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or if you've got a newsletter like these blogs that hopefully you're going to be making, you might want to send them out in a newsletter, because people might be interested, especially if you've got like a family orientated demographic. They love reading stuff about how to keep their kids' teeth clean and their parents' teeth clean.
And I suppose sometimes it consolidates that relationship as well.
Yeah,
You sort of
absolutely.
those little touches, you're sending that information, and like say, if you're sending some good content or special offers, you know, they may be waiting to their next appointment, but they may come in early, so you sort of get that a little bit of extra income. In terms of what would you say? I know this is quite a broad question. In terms of like your sort of top advice in terms of people trying to grow their patient list. So I know we've spoken a lot about the other types of marketing. Is there any other sort of points that people need to think about when they're trying to grow the patient list?
If I hadn't already mentioned it, the one thing I would have said would be the emergency dentistry. So with our dental practices, anytime we see a dip, that's kind of the first thing we do. Like, cool, let's turn the pay-per-click back on for emergency dentistry, because we don't have it on all the time. We have it off pretty much all the time. But anytime we see a little dip, it's like, cool, let's put on a cheap emergency dentistry campaign, and it really, really works. So if you want to grow it kind of immediately because you see a dip, then pay-per-click is probably the best way. If you want to grow it organically, just kind of over time, then the best way is SEO, getting your website better, especially if you're not already in the top, let's say 3 in Google, when you Google dentist in wherever you are. If you're not in the top 3, then SEO is kind of the way to grow it, because people don't think that much when they Google things. They're probably just going to go for one of the top 3 results, because again, people just assume, oh, they're 9th on Google, they must not be very good. That's not true whatsoever, but people think that. There's a saying in digital marketing: if you want to hide a body, hide it on the 2nd page of Google, because no one's ever looked there. So if you're not on the
that is
top,
true. So if it's not on the top page, you don't really look.
That's beside the body. No one's ever going to look there.
If
you're not on the front page, then 100% work on your website. If you are, but you're not in the top 5, work on your website. If you are in the top 5, top 3, or even number 1, and you still want to grow, then improve your website. Do better content, improve the user journey and the user experience. So essentially make it look better, make it easier to use, make it quicker, make it more stable. Organic growing of your patient list is kind of about brand awareness, and the best ways to do that are pay-per-click and your website, because that's pretty much where everyone's going to be. Again, if you've got a younger demographic, social media is going to be a bigger thing for you, because I was talking to a family member recently, and they were going to Rome, and I said, oh, what should I do there? I was like, why don't you Google it? Best things to do in Rome. They literally said, why would I Google it? I'm not 50. I'm going to go on Instagram. And they went on Instagram and TikTok and Google and searched best things to do in Rome. And that's where they got their info from, which is insane to me. So younger generations genuinely are doing their Googling on social media platforms.
Actually, we just had a follow-up question in terms of the emergency dentist. Is it for emergency dentists in a certain graphical area? I can't say that word. Or is it in general? So I'm assuming you want to link it to emergency dentists in this area.
With Google Ads, you can tell it exactly the areas you want to target. With a general brand awareness one, dentist near me, you kind of want to keep it within 3 miles, because not many people will travel more than 3 miles for a new dentist. If they already have a dentist and they move 10 miles away, a lot of people will travel for that dentist they're used to. But emergency dentist, you can really open it up a bit more. 5 miles is fine, maybe even a bit more, especially depending on where you are. Like if you're in the middle of London, there's going to be a lot of emergency dentists in London. So people may not travel from one end of the city to the other when there's 1,000 in between. But if you're in a less populated area of the country or a smaller town, then you can really branch that out, because again, people are going to travel for an emergency dentist if there's not someone near them to help. they're not going to wait until that person is open at 9 o'clock the next morning or on Monday because it's Saturday evening right now. So yeah, you can definitely spread that out a bit more, but it really depends on where you are and what your competition's like around you, and what the population density is. But with an emergency dental campaign, yeah, spread that out a little bit more. Because people will be willing to travel in an emergency.
So Chris, is there any other areas? So we're coming to the end now. So if you do have any other sort of questions, just please fire them in. But in terms of Samera, is there any other services that we can help in terms of the marketing side?
Yeah. So first of all, if you do have any more questions, just email them to me, chris@samera.co.uk, and I'll happily answer them. But we are just about to launch digital marketing services for the first time in a while. We used to do them, and then we kind of concentrated on our own stuff, and now we're launching it again. So there's going to be a few things you can do. There'll be an SEO audit where me and our developer, Alex, will look over your website. We'll draw up a report saying, right, here's all the things you need to change. And that will improve the SEO of your website. And if we look at your website and don't think it needs that many improvements, then obviously we'll just give you the few that we do spot, and it's cool, it's free. But if we find stuff that you can really change that will help, then we'll draw up a report for you, letting you know how to improve it. Or we can build a website for you. So again, we've got developer in-house, Alex, who builds all our websites. He's brilliant. I'll be doing the SEO. That's kind of my expertise. And yeah, like I said, you need an agency who's specializes in dentistry, and obviously we specialize in dentistry. So we kind of know exactly what makes a dental website work. So whether you need one, you've got one, or you just want to improve one, we can help with your website. So we'll be launching it on the website soon. But in the meantime, if you want to reach out to me, chris@samera.co.uk, I'm more than happy to help.
Perfect.
Yeah, just let us know.
And also, we've got the community group as well for dentists. So if you're not on that at the moment, just reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to put you on that group. We share loads of information on there, obviously webinars that are coming up, just general information, which in terms of startups, buying practices, a lot of stuff on there. So just let us know. And also, obviously, we can help in terms of the finance side of things, and also accountancy. So just say, if you need any help on anything, just please let us know.
Absolutely.
Right, so thank you all for attending today. It is really useful. Thank you so much for the questions we're on there, and Chris, thanks for answering all the points on there. But if you need anything else, then just reach out to us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.